la 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 la. Shalom Alechem Malachei Asharet Malachei Yona Mi Melech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Yona Mi Melech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu La 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 la. Barchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Yona mi melech malachei amlochim hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Yona mi melech malachei amlochim hakadosh baruch hu. La 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 la. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so glad you can join us this evening, this particular Shabbat, the August service, because every year Herschel, my husband, officiates with me. And it's a very special evening because we get to do things together and pray, daven together, and to feel the spirit of Shabbat. So I would like to welcome my husband, who is my mentor and a truly blessed human being. He's always spreading and uplifting spirits through his music as well as his humor. I'm still laughing all the time. So we welcome him, the unemployed Yiddish actor, Cantor Herschel Fox.
I am so happy to be with you this Friday night in August. It really is one of the highlights of my year when I join my wife and we perform together, or we lead together, this wonderful service. It's been many, many years now, and it's become a tradition for many, many people to join us. I know this is a difficult time, the pandemic. People are watching at home, but I want you to feel that you're really participating in a synagogue for the performing arts service. And please know that we join Judy as we recite at the beginning now the candlelighting bracha, and we welcome you to join in. You'll find the supplement of the prayers on our website, so you can join in and follow along as we bench licht page 1.
As we recite the bracha over these already lit candles, we open our hearts and pray to invite the sacred presence of God and the Kedusha holiness of Shabbat to bring light into the world and fill our lives with light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Shel Shabbat. Amen. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Several hundred years ago, in the wonderful mystical city of Tzfat, where the Mikubalim used to live, the spiritual people of our people. And Shlomo Halevi Alkovitz wrote this magnificent poem in 8 verses, and if you look carefully, you'll see his name, Shlomo Halevi. And this wonderful poem depicted the Sabbath as a bride. And even today, many Jewish weddings, when the bride appears, they will play or sing the last verse, Boi v'shalom, come in peace, the Sabbath bride. Lecha dodi.
Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki makor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla hitorari kibarech kumi ori uri shida beri kavod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzala tochem unei am sigula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. The call to worship in the Baruch as we bless God's name for the first time as a community together. Lai, 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 la, lai, lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 la, lai. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai, 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 lai,
So every year, when we do this evening together with you, this service, Judy always says to me, now you got to give them some new jokes because they've heard your old jokes many, many times. So here are two stories that Judy picked for me. I hope you like them. If you don't like them, tell her, okay? The first one is called My Son, the President. It's the year 2029, and a Jew has been elected President of the United States. He calls his mother and he says, Mom, I'm the President of the United States. I want you to come to the inauguration. Yes? She says, well, I've got nothing to wear. So he says, Ma, I'm the president. I'm going to be the president. I'll get you a dress. She says, well, I only eat kosher. She says, Ma. He says, Ma, it's in in a country, it's in a city that has kosher restaurants. She says, well, how am I going to get there? He says, Ma, I'll get you Air Force One. You're coming to the inaugural. She ends up at the inaugural, and they're on the reviewing stand. On the left side of her are all the Supreme Court judges. On the right side is the president's cabinet. She nudges the guy to her right, and she says, you see that guy, the president, with his hand up? His brother is a doctor. Okay, that was one, and here's the next one. Again, it's about a Jewish mother. This guy tells his mother that he's finally going to get married, and his mother is thrilled. She says, am I going to meet her? He says, yeah. I'd like to play a little game with you, Ma. You have such a good sense of what's going on. I'd like to bring in 3 women and have you guess which one is going to be my wife. His mother agrees. The next day, he brings in 3 beautiful ladies, and he sits down on the couch next to his mom. His mother talks to them for 2 minutes and says, the redhead in the middle. And he says, Ma, that's amazing. How did you do that so quickly? She says, because I don't like her. Okay, 2 new ones. And now we approach one of the most beautiful prayers, the call of the Jewish people to express that they believe in one God, Shema Yisrael. And I would like to read, before Judy actually sings Shema and Baruch Shem with you, the translation of Ve'ahavta. Please join me. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Join me in the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot peinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
Shabbat Shalom, my friends. It is so good to be here with you. I wish I could be there with you in person. I wish we could all be here together in person. So one can complain about that. On the other hand, if this happened 20 years ago, there's no way we would have been able to get together at all for this holiday. So I'm grateful for that. I suppose we're all during this period looking for things we can be grateful for. And I want to be grateful in less than 2 months when we're all going to be together again for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Some of you might notice that I'm dressed as if it is Yom Kippur. Indeed, I am wearing the kittel that's traditionally worn on Yom Kippur. The kittel conveys a number of lessons. One of them a very happy lesson, one of them a more somber lesson. The happy lesson is it signifies that if people all come to shul wearing a kittel, and I encourage women as well as men to do so, it underscores the equality of all human beings as we're here together in a simple white garment. Otherwise, people have a tendency to really dress up for the holidays, and it's nice that people want to be in what Christians used to call their Sunday best, so we're in our high holiday best, and that is nice. But it's also nice if we dress simply in a white, simple white garment. And that's a happy thought because it underscores the equality of all human beings, certainly in God's eyes, and therefore if it's in God's eyes, it should be in our eyes as well. And what's the somber lesson of the kittel? The somber lesson is, in traditional Jewish life, it's the burial shroud. It's a weird thing when you suddenly think about it that everybody's in their burial shroud, but it carries a very powerful reminder. Time is not limitless. If we're going to make up with people, we have to do it now. If we want God to forgive us for inequities and bad things we've done, it means we should be also forgiving of others. It's a little arrogant to come before God if we're unforgiving of others and ask God to be forgiving of us. Yom Kippur in Jewish life traditionally is a happy day because it's a day of reconciliation. Reconciliation between people and God and reconciliation between people and each other. I want to say something else also. When Ruth converts to Judaism in the Bible, she does so with a 4-word declaration. Amech ami, Elohayech Elohai. Your people shall be my people, your God shall be my God. We come together on the high holidays before God, but we also come together traditionally with other people as well. And that's a very important thing, that we come together as well, as we come together in a community. There's a law in Judaism that a Torah scroll, in order to be kasher, in order to be totally perfect for use, has to contain every letter in the Torah. If you've ever seen it in traditional Jewish synagogues, if the Torah reader suddenly comes across a letter that's missing, they take out another Torah, and then they send the other Torah to be checked by a scribe and made perfect again. A Hasidic Rebbe once pointed out that just like that Torah scroll that's missing only one letter is somehow devoid of being a full Torah scroll, so too is the Jewish community diminished and not fully at peace if there's even one member missing. We really hope none of you will be missing. We hope, for example, as our synagogue, you're part of our synagogue, all of you are in a position to do so, please renew your membership. We want all of you here. And if for any reason you can't be here, make sure you are somewhere on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The Jewish community will miss you very much. So this is my prayer for you, and I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and in advance, Shana Tova, Umituka, a good year and a sweet year. Thank you.
I consider myself very lucky. After World War II, I was 4 years old when my parents and I moved to Winnipeg, Canada. Winnipeg was a cold city with warm people. I enjoyed living there very much. We lived in an insulated little Jewish community called the North End. I went to a Yiddish day school. We spoke Yiddish at home, and we sang Yiddish songs. When I was a kid, I used to bring the house down when I was about 7, 8 years old, and I sang my Yiddish Mama. My Yiddish Mama, I need her more than ever now. My Yiddish Mama, I'd love to kiss her wrinkled brow. I long to hold her hand once more, as in days gone by, and ask her to forgive me for things I did that made her cry. How few were her pleasures. She never cared for fashion style. Her jewels and her treasures, she found them in her baby smile. Oh, I know that I owe what I am today to that dear little lady, so old, so gray, to that wonderful Yiddish mama, of mine. One of the highlights of all of our performances together for me has been the Yiddish theater love song medley. Because when I say to my wife I love her, because that's what the words say in the song, I really mean it. Songs of the Yiddish theater, the love songs.
Try to remember a time in September when life was slow and oh so mellow.
Try to remember the kind of September when I was a young and callow fellow.
You're still a callow fellow.
Not anymore.
I still don't know what it means. Try to remember, and if you remember, just follow, 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 follow. Mazel, die scheinste wohl voor jeden, or niet voor mir. Mazel, die bringst du jeden Frieden, far was warmst däumste mein Tier. Nur wie dit banka jede Schuhe, das Leben vergeht in keine Hoffnung, ist als nicht du. Mazel, die scheinste Mul für jeden, nur nicht für mir.
Herr, wie mein Herz beet, vergess mich nicht. In Leiden, Frieden, vergess mich nicht. Weil ich bleib ewig deins, gedenk du's geht. Wie die wir sein, vergess mich nicht. Verlost mich, nimmst die meine Schumme mit dir. Deine Numen will bleiben, du in Herzen tief bei mir. 3 kleine Wälder, gedenk sie geht. Wie die wirst du sein, vergess mich nicht.
So beautiful when he sings that. Many years, I still don't know what he's saying, but it's fun. Oi, oi, bei mir bist du schön, bei mir hast du geen, bei mir bist du einer auf der Welt. Ja, bei mir bist du gitt, bei mir hast du it, bei mir bist du einer auf der Welt. Viel schöner jelach haben schon gewollt, nehmen mich in Finse alle ausgeklimmen. Hab ich nur dich, bei mir bist bist du schön, bei mir hast du kein, bei mir bist die einer auf der Welt.
Schön wie die Lewune, lichtig wie die Sterne, von Himmel am Matone, bist du mir zugeschickt. Mein Glück hab ich gefunden, wenn ich hab dich gewinnen. Du scheinst wie 1000 Sinnen, hast mein Hals beglückt. Deine Charge Accounts, oi deine schöne Augen, deine Herrlach, deine Kleiderlach, hast mich sie gezeugt. Schön wie die Lewune, lichtig wie die Sterne, von Himmel am Matone, bist du mir sie geschickt.
Auf ein Prippetschik brennt der Feuer und in Stub ist heiß und der Rebbe lernt kleine Kinderlach dem alle Beis und der Rebbe lernt kleine Kinderlach dem alle Beis. Oi Herrschele, ich bin Mischige für dir.
Oi Judale, ich bin Mischige für dir. Oi Herrschele, ich bin Mischige für dir. Oi Herrschele, ich bin Mischige für dir. Ich will sich spielen, es ist also geht. Ich will sich spielen, wer will du's nicht? Ich will du spielen, es ist festgestellt, weil auf Spielen steht die ganze Welt. Weil auf Spielen steht die ganze Welt.
A song of love is a sad song. Hi lily, hi lily, hi low.
A song of love is a song of woe. Don't ask me how I know.
A song of love is a sad song, for I have loved and it's so.
I sit by my window and see the rain.
Hi lily, hi lily, hi low. Tomorrow I'll probably love again. Hi lily, hi lily, hi low. So try to remember, and if you remember, just follow, 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 follow. We now come to the point in our service where we would recite the Amidah, or some people do it silently. We're going to do it silently and turn within, send out blessings and prayers for people that need healing, send out blessing and prayers to God to help us at this very difficult and challenging time. We bond together as one heart, praying for the same thing. So let us take a few moments. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. And we wish for peace among all of the nations, all over the world. Peace here at home, and most of all, peace within ourselves. Because when we have peace within ourselves, we will bond as one.
I was 6 years old. I was sitting next to my father on the first day of Rosh Hashanah at our little neighborhood synagogue, the Ateres Yisrael Synagogue. The cantor of the Orthodox synagogue, the largest in the city, Cantor Benjamin Brownstone, was our guest cantor that year. I had ADD. In those days, they called it a wilde Chaye, a wild animal, because I couldn't sit still. But as soon as Cantor Brownstone began davening, as soon as he began the Musaf service, and the choir began to hum behind him, I was absolutely mesmerized. I didn't leave my seat that entire Musaf. It probably lasted about 3.5 hours. I started to cry after the service. I asked Cantor Brownstone if I could sing in his choir. He told me I was too young. But 2 years later, I joined his choir. I was 8 years old. And I spent the next 15 years with him, singing with him. And that's how I began my cantorial career. I have loved it all these years. I've been a cantor now for 57 years. This is my 40th year at Valley Beth Shalom. I have been very privileged to lead the life that I've led, and a great deal of that was because of my wife, Judy Fox, and our 2 children, Shira and Shana. And now, my wife also asked me to sing my favorite song about Jerusalem. It came out right after the Yom Kippur War. No, right after the 6-Day War. And I fell in love with this song because it asks for peace for us, for Israel, and for the world. If you know it, please join me now. Avilayim salul kiyayin herreachoranim nisa beruach arbaim im kol pamonim uvetar dematilan vaeben shvuya bachaloma העיר אשר ודד יושבת ובליבה חומה ירושלים של זהב של נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך ארי כינור ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. The olive trees that stand in silence upon the hills of time, to hear the shofar in the valley as bells of evening chime. The shofar sounding from the temple to call the world to prayer. The shepherd pauses in the valley and peace is everywhere. Yerushalayim shel zahav v'shel nechoshed v'shel or Hallo lechol shiraich ani kinor Yerushalayim shel zahav v'shel nechoshed v'shel or Hallo lechol shiraich ani kinor.
Please join me in the Aleinu, which you will find on our last page in the supplement on our website. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hako, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye aratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot hadama, Shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We now come to the time in our service when we reach the mourner's Kaddish. We remember and we think back and we fill our thoughts connected to those who lived before us. That is why we say Kaddish, to remember those now gone and to give thanks and praise for all the good things they did. As long as we remember them, the power of their lives continues to bring us blessing. Please join my husband in the mourner's Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירון בעולמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. And now here is the president of the Synagogue for the Performing Arts, David Gorel.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Here we are once again. It's wonderful to be with you. I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who made this service possible. First and foremost, Cantors Judy and Herschel Fox, this annual event is something we all look forward to. Thank you so much for inviting us into your home and continuing this wonderful tradition. Rabbi Joseph Telushkin for his ever-poignant messaging, Executive Director Cookie Miller, Ritual Chair Susie Ross, accompanist David Kaminer, Editor Frank Patinato, and audio-visual engineer Michael Bell. As we get used to this new way of being together, we are working very hard to create a wonderful high holiday experience for you. Our renewal letter was mailed a couple weeks ago, and we encourage you to send that in as soon as possible. From all of us at the Synagogue for the Performing Arts, stay safe, stay healthy, and Shabbat Shalom.
Please join me in the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavonu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilonu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila levikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki vanu b'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikohamim b'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, to life and beautiful days to come, a whole renewal of everything in life that we can experience. And we sing Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, hey, Shabbat Shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, hey, Shabbat, good Shabbos.